Alright everybody, first episode of the new year, let's take a look at some of your 4RUNNERs. Okay, so starting off with Dante. And Dante has, it looks like a white late model 4th gen. And he's taking it wheeling, which is great. We've got some stickers. So, looks like he's been to Moab. Awesome, good for you. I'm jealous, I would love to go there sometime. I don't know what JH stands for. He's got like the vintage Toyota graphics on the window. Not a fan, that's not my thing. Over here, this is like a Jeep style trail rated badge, but it says something else. I don't know. Oh, it's a Toyota 200,000 mile club. Okay, you know what? I was about to roast you for that, but I take it back. That's impressive. We've got an aftermarket rear bumper here that for some reason is painted bright orange, it looks like. I'm trying to decide if I want to be gracious this year or roast people even harder. I guess we'll figure out as this video goes along. We've got some trail damage, that's for sure. So we've lost a fender flare and also the top portion of the factory rear bumper. That's all missing. It's all gone. I don't know if it's on the trail somewhere. Looks like he's somewhere scenic, Utah or something, but so I'm sure there's some legit wheeling going on here. We got some factory 5th gen, are they trail edition wheels? A friend of mine has them on a 3rd gen 4Runner, and I think they look pretty cool. They're maybe a little bit large for a 3rd gen, but for these 4th gens, I think this would be a close second place for me compared to like the TRD Pro wheels on a 4th gen. Good. I think they're 18s, which kind of, you know, you're gonna have to pay a little bit more money for whatever your tire of choice is, but if you're looking for an OEM wheel that kind of matches and suits the 4th gen, I think these 5th gen wheels look pretty good too. We've got orange stripes on the hood. Not my thing. So he's got like an army cotton here, but I'm looking at this and I'm thinking to myself, like, if I chose to climb in there, how would I do it? I think the move would just to be full-fledged Superman dive, head first, hope for the best, because I just can't imagine any graceful way to get myself up there. Maybe you got more skills than I do. Anyways, Dante, I'm going to give you a 6.5 out of 10 because you do use it for what it's intended for. Next up, we have Derek, and Derek seems to have a later model 4th gen 4Runner, big surprise. This one is magnetic gray though, which is kind of a nice change. I've surprisingly seen a lot of shadow gray ones like mine, and I always thought that was kind of a rare color. But this looks good. He's got some really nice pictures of this as well. It looks like he's kind of captured golden hour. It's like right before sunset. I think Derek knows what he's doing around a camera, if I had to guess. While I'm guessing, I would say this is maybe a V6 model because it doesn't have the V8 badge here on the grill, unless he took it off. Speaking of the grill, I'm just not a fan of the factory chrome trim on like the SR5s and the Sport Editions. If you could color match that, if you wanted to keep it factory, I think that looks great, like the Limiteds, or if you want to do a TRD Pro one like everybody else does, myself included, I think it's also a good choice. We've got some TRD Pro wheels, which are, I still think, one of the best looking OEM wheels from any manufacturer. I think they just really suit these 4th gen 4Runners really nicely. And this is a great example because as far as I can tell, this is an otherwise completely stock 4Runner, it looks like. It looks like stock ride height, stock running boards, stock everything. It just looks like it's really well cared for and nicely captured in these pictures. Okay, so Derek's also got a 5th gen, and these are the wheels that we saw on Dante's 4th gen previously, which I guess this is what they came from, the Trail Edition or whatever. Great looking 5th gen. This looks like it's a later model year 5th generation 4Runner. Looks like it's maybe running some aftermarket suspension. It's a little hard to tell with these 5th gens. I think they sit a little bit higher than the 4th gens from the factory, but this does look like maybe it's at least leveled or something. It's got some rock sliders, it looks like, here as well, which is nice. And I think I see an aftermarket front skid plate. Derek, you got great taste, man. If you own both of these at the same time, you're kind of winning, right? You got one of each. I think that's awesome. If I was going to own a 5th generation 4Runner myself, I would own this one. I think this is beautiful. There's nothing about this one that I don't like. The 4th gen, because it's stock but so well cared for, I'm going to give you a 7.5 out of 10. And because the 5th gen is much newer and probably has some better options, and it just looks so good. I think the 5th gens, even in factory form, they just look really nice, I think. So I'm going to step it up to an 8 out of 10 for your 5th gen. Moving on to Garrett. And Garrett's got a, looks like old man beige 4th gen here that has had a bit of a run-in with a Sawzall. we've done some trimming here. At least so far in this image, it doesn't look bad. He still has the factory running boards, but this front fender flare, I guess the fender behind it, has been trimmed, it looks like. And it looks like these are some pretty big tires he's got on here. I'm going to say they're 35s, and pretty aggressive. Doug Thorley sticker. So you can guess he's probably got some awesome headers on here, which I'm a huge fan of. Front shot here, again, this really highlights how much trimming he's done. Sheesh, man, you just barely missed the fog light there. But I guess these Viper guts are popular for some people, and it looks like he did maybe go the extra mile and put like some trim along the edge here to kind of finish it off, which is nice because, you know, a lot of people are just going to leave a rough cut there, and he does care about the fit and finish, I guess. Here he's got a snorkel, which I think is pretty cool. It's a Safari brand, I think. Yeah, so that's nice. You don't see a whole lot of 4th gens with snorkels. We got a darker image here. It's a little bit tough to see the actual 4Runner, but you can see the stance and the silhouette of this thing, and it's sitting really aggressively. I like it. It's fairly level. Those tires are huge. Again, we've got some yellow fog lights. These little kind of fake skid plates that some of them were sold with, I don't think they're really helpful for much. They kind of look interesting, I guess, but I think one whack on that thing and it's going to fold pretty quickly. But yeah, these are some big, I think 35s. I've also noticed that he's got no roof rack on it. I don't know if that's because he's in the process of upgrading to an aftermarket one, or he just wanted to streamline it and maybe pick up some of the fuel economy that he lost with these huge tires. I don't think that's going to be a straight trade though, buddy. You're going to need to do more than that if you're trying to get your MPGs back in line. I'm going to give this one a 7 out of 10. Not a fan of the color. The trimming is a little bit much for me, but I do love the huge tires and the ride height. Okay, on to Jacob, and this thing looks quite familiar. I see a shadow gray 4th gen with Ontario license plates on it, and that looks a lot like mine. I think I remember him saying that he's running the same suspension setup as me as well, and I believe this one has just shy of 500,000 kilometers on it on the clock before he sold it. I think this is the one that he said that he sold. So what can we see in the back here? Not a whole lot going on. Looks like a factory exhaust. We've got the stupid fox head trailer hitch cover thing. Like, I've never understood those. I don't know. If you're a huge fan of the Fox brand, I guess you want to represent it. Tell the world you got a dirt bike or something. I don't know. That's cool. Whatever. To each their own. Front end, can't really tell much here. Looks like it's all stock. Got the factory chrome headlights with the chrome badging. So this is kind of the only real side shot that we can see what's going on with this. And again, it looks like he said he's got the same suspension setup. So I'm assuming Fox 2.0 coilovers and rear shocks, and maybe OME rear springs. Got the factory running boards. I can't really see a whole lot here, man. I don't know. You got the factory mud flaps too. It looks like the OEM limited wheels painted black, or maybe powder coated, maybe plasti dipped, and a set of BFGs on them, which is a nice way of upgrading. Functional, maybe not like the most exciting looking. Anyways, for a fellow shadow gray 4Runner, oh, what do we got on the interior here? Not really anything to see, other than the fact that it's clean and the seats are in great shape for 500,000 kilometers. Holy crap, dude. Okay, mine has literally half that mileage, and I've got some tears on my driver's side seat that have been there since I bought it. And wow, that interior is quite impressive for the mileage. So because of that, I think it's shadow gray. Copied my suspension setup. Interior looks like it's in awesome shape. As far as the build goes, a little bland, nothing too exciting there, so I'm going to give this one a 7 out of 10. Next up we have James, and James has sent in some photos that are made for ants. If you watch the Zoolander movie, you'll get that reference. If not, then you're not going to think I'm funny at all, but these are really small pictures. We got a white 4th gen from what I can see. It looks fairly stock, but has rock lights on it because you're rock crawling a stock 4Runner, and we've got some is that neon lights in the interior? You know, I can't talk trash about those. I had blue neon lights in the interior of my first car. It was an '89 Corolla SR5. Well, we're all teenagers once, I guess, you know. I'm trying to find a picture that I can really see what's going on with this thing, and I can't, aside from a bunch of stickers on the back window. It looks like it's all stock. He's kind of flexing it in the grass here. Yeah, looks like it's all factory, but from what I can see, it does look to be in pretty decent shape. Looks like he takes it adventuring a little bit though, which is awesome. So not much going on here, and your pictures are tiny, so I'm going to give you a 6 out of 10. All right, on to Jerome. And we got a front shot here to start with an aftermarket bumper. It looks like some pretty tall-sized tires. I can't really tell. This might just be like a wide-angle lens or something. It's in the shadow. I can't see a whole lot, but this looks like a North Shore bike rack on the back for mountain bikes. So you can hang 4 mountain bikes across the back, which is really cool if you're using this like as a shuttle rig. I'll give you points for that. That's a pretty expensive bike rack, and as far as I know, not like super commonly known. Looks like, so because of the reflectors down in the rear bumper, this is an early model 4th gen, but we have the LED tails from a late model 4th gen, which is cool. That's a great upgrade, I think, if you want to modernize the rear end of an older 4th gen. I personally would do that before going to some of these aftermarket lights that people are putting on here that are like smoked or whatever. Okay, I see what's going on here. So this is one of the early models that has the unpainted cladding. And normally I'm not like a big fan of that, but this is kind of interesting. He's got like kind of gunmetal gray wheels that almost match that cladding color. So I actually like that. It's very unique. This is different than the typical 4th gen that we're seeing posted in Roast My Runner. A lot of black ones, a lot of gray ones, a lot of white ones, a lot of us just running black, fake beadlock wheels, the usual kind of recipe. He's doing something a little bit different here. Another front end shot with his driving lights on here. It's a sport edition, if I had to guess from the hood. This is a cool shot with his Land Cruiser buddy. I like the wheels, and again, I like that the gunmetal color of them kind of matches the body cladding. That's a unique idea to kind of make the most of the 4Runner that you ended up with here. We've got a aftermarket front bumper, which is really clean, and if I was going to get one for mine, I think I would do something like this because it's really low profile. It doesn't stick out. You don't have any big fancy hoops sticking up that you can hang a swing from. If you want to mount a winch and some lighting and have the extra protection of a sheet metal front bumper, I think this one's hard to beat because from a distance it kind of looks like an OEM front end. It's kind of like an OEM plus sort of a build, and I really like it. We got some ditch lights here as well. Great looking 4Runner, and I like that you're kind of doing something different. And so because of that, I'm going to give you an 8 out of 10 because you're thinking outside the box and making the most of the model that you ended up with. Up next, we have Matt Ross, and he's got a very clean, and by clean, I mean shiny looking 4th gen here. Again, we got a lot of 4th gens on Roast My Runner, but friendly reminder, all generations are welcome on this. There's got a lot of 4th gen fans on this channel, I guess. It looks like there's been some fabrication going on this one. Check out this rear bumper. This is like a tube bumper that follows the body line of the factory rear bumper, but the bumper has been trimmed obviously to make way for this. Got some tabs welded on to put these shackles on here, and then also we've got a trailer hitch mount. I'm not sure if that's the OEM trailer hitch repurposed, or looks like we got some reverse lights or like some, I guess, scene lights, I think some people would refer to them as. Yeah, we got some sliders here as well. The gold wheels is kind of a different choice on a silver 4Runner, but again, I'm a fan of people doing something outside of the norm in this episode, and I'm going to score you some points for that. I think that looks good. Can't really see a whole lot of what's going on the side here, aside from like the ride height. I don't think it's on level ground here, so I don't think that this kind of big rake is actually real. I think it probably sits a little bit more level. Front shot here. So he's got this looks like maybe a custom front bumper. I don't know if these are mass produced. I don't think I've seen these anywhere else before. Correct me if I'm wrong. So this is kind of like a mixture of like a plate bumper and a tube bumper. Again, he's got some shackles here. You don't have much confidence in your rig. I'm noticing a lot of recovery points on this thing. Do you get stuck a lot? I think everybody's going to flame me for that, saying like, oh, he's the one that's recovering everybody else that he goes wheeling with. Yeah, okay, we'll go with that. Check out this license plate mount that is going on here. That's kind of clever too, eh? Like gee, I wonder if I'm Canadian. It's pretty cool though. I like that, this looks like a very functional kind of a bumper. It maybe isn't like the best looking, but is this a block heater hanging out here? I don't know. Must live somewhere cold. But look, he had to actually trim the fender flare and the fender, and then maybe also the trim under the headlight in order to fit this bumper. And it looks like they did a really good job. It looks very, very clean. And I think maybe somebody that doesn't own one of these themselves and stare at it all the time would never even notice that that's been cut. So kudos to you for that. Got a picture in front of the Toyota dealer. Actually, I really like that. That's a great shot. It's kind of zoomed out. Can't really see a whole lot what's going on. Again, another big tire size here. I don't know if these are 35s or maybe 34s or something, but they're big. That is for sure. Got some rock lights. I don't know. I've never been a fan of rock lights unless I was going to be like actually rock crawling literally at nighttime. It seems like all these people have turned rock lights into like the new underglow, and it's no different than some Fast and Furious action if you ask me. But if you love him, that's cool. And for all I know, the way this thing is built, maybe he does go rock crawling all the time, and I'll just put my foot in my mouth. Anyways, that's the last picture we got. So Matt Ross, I'm going to give you an 8 out of 10 because you are being a bit creative, even though it's maybe not my favorite choices in terms of looks for some things. You're doing something different, and you're doing something that really works for you, and it seems functional. So, yeah. Okay, up next we have Morris, and this, as soon as I clicked on his email, I saw this picture and I just went, oh man. Morris, I didn't recognize the name. He goes by a different name on the 4Runner forums, but he is one of the OG members of the Toyota 4Runner forums. This guy, he's been around for as long as I can remember. When I was researching buying my 4Runner, which was like 6 years ago now, I remember he had posts all over the place, and he was the one that was like organizing, creating stickers, like forum member stickers for everybody, and just, I remember seeing this image, this top image, in his signature on all of his forum posts. And he was just a wealth of knowledge and super helpful. And so I refer to him from this point on, not as Morris, but as the OG, because I feel like he has really earned our respect. I think he has a fantastic 4Runner, by the way, which we're about to get into. Yeah, anyways, thank you, Morris, for all of the information that you've put out into the community in the past. And as far as I know, you continue to do so. We all appreciate you, man. So let's take a look at his 4Runner. He's got some real brand name, like high quality parts on this thing. ADS Racing Shocks. This is kind of like a less common suspension company from what I know, but looks good with the remote mounted reservoirs. Got some Camberg upper control arms here. Looks like he's done it right. And got some Icon wheels, which look really nice, actually. I'm not normally a fan of the Icon wheels that they, like the other designs that they have, but these look pretty cool. They got the bead looks, which I can't talk trash. I've got methods on mine that are the same thing. Even some Falcon tires. So he's really done high quality parts on this thing and name brand stuff. It looks really clean, by the way, and really well cared for. Here's a rear shot of the suspension and the wheels. I think these are probably 285s or 33s, if you will. It's funny now, compared to some of these guys running 35s, these tires actually look sort of small, and I remember really questioning whether I wanted to go up to 285s on mine, because I'm like, oh man, that's a huge tire, and now it's like totally common these days. But if you didn't notice on his first shot, he started out with one of the early model 4th gens that had the unpainted cladding, and he's actually had it color matched and painted it to make it look like a later model one, which is really nice. I think it's kind of a lesson in sticking with the one that you know and the one that you love. I think he bought this brand new, as far as I remember. So this is his baby, and instead of selling it and buying a later model one, he made it look like a later model one because clearly he loves this thing. So I can respect that. He's got a Sherpa rack up there, same as mine, with some chase lights and some camping lights on the side. Looks awesome. We got some rock sliders here, aftermarket rear bumper. He's also upgraded to the OEM LED taillights for the late model ones in the back here. This rear bumper with the jerry can and the spare tire is super functional, but also just looks really nice. He's got a CB antenna back here. Yeah, it's just such a well-rounded vehicle. You can tell he's really thought it out and really considered everything that he did to it, and didn't just, follow trends or do whatever was cool at the time. This is meant to be very functional, but it's gorgeous as well, just because of the way that he looks after it. I'm sure there's all kinds of Easter eggs on this 4Runner that maybe aren't noticeable at first glance, that I'll bet you... I'm sure he's got a build thread on t4r.org. If I can find it, I'm going to link it down in the description for you guys to go and check out, because from what I remember, it's pretty extensive. This is I think a DeMello off-road front bumper, maybe? He's got some old school style, like round style LED lighting up front, which is kind of nice to see. A lot of light bars out there these days, myself included, and this is a sort of a different, more of a throwback look, which I think is cool, and I wouldn't be surprised if they put out more light than a typical, dual row light bar or something like that. We've got some black housing headlights, which again, I keep making these videos and I think I mentioned in every episode, I gotta get some black housing headlights for mine. This reminds me that I think mine would look better with some lights like this. I don't know if these are the OEM lights that are just painted or if these are some aftermarket ones. Knowing him, I wouldn't be surprised if he went with OEM ones and just took them apart and painted them to keep the OEM quality, because the aftermarket ones are just not great from what I understand. Also, on that note, he did upgrade the front end here to put the newer style headlights, like the projectors up front here, which is another nice thing. Okay, moving on to a close-up of the front suspension here. And guys, can we just take a moment to appreciate how clean his suspension and undercarriage is? Like, every one of these bolts looks like you could actually take it off. Like, everything on my 4Runner, I'm like sitting there for 6 hours with a bottle of penetrating oil in one hand and a torch in the other, crying. This thing looks like you can actually work on it and focus on the task at hand and not broken bolts or rounded heads or things seized together. Anyways, I'm really jealous. It looks great. It's a fantastic build, and for everything he's done for the community, the fact that his 4Runner legitimately is really nice, I'm going to give him a 9.5 out of 10. Up next, we got Morris number 2, and I'm sorry, dude, but you're Morris number 2. It's bad enough you got to follow that act, but it's like being a brand new stand-up comedian and you got to go on stage after Dave Chappelle's been there. I'm sorry, man. So this is a much more OEM style build here, but it's not stock. At first glance with the factory wheels, it does look kind of untouched, but we've got quite a bit of work actually done here. Looks like it's sitting differently with some kind of different suspension. We got some sliders here. We got an aftermarket front bumper, and again, the clean style with no big hoops or bars up front. Kind of maintains the silhouette of the factory front end, which I think is a really great option. And again, we've got an aftermarket rear bumper here as well, which you have to trim the factory bumper in order to fill out this gap, and it looks like they've done a really good job of doing that. That looks like it's factory almost. So yeah, I think for like an OEM plus style of build already on this first picture, they did a great job on this. Yeah, again, the front end, we got the Sport Edition hood, which looks so good. Color matched grille with the probably painted or plastic dipped logo, which is nice. This bumper with the kind of the hidden winch and then the lighting and stuff. Great choice there. Yeah, kind of more of the same on this side. We don't have a spare tire mounted here yet, or like it looks like a jerry can is meant to mount over here. But it's a dual swing out, and it's going to be fantastic once you finish that up and kind of use it for what it's meant for. From BC, a fellow Canadian. So you're going to score an extra point for that. Overall, I think this is a really good build. If you're not looking for something flashy, you want something functional, and also you appreciate the factory look of the 4th Gen 4Runner, and you just want to make it more capable. This looks like kind of, if Toyota didn't have to act like a normal car company, this is what the 4th Gen probably should have come as if we were talking with functionality and as a priority. I really like it. I think I'm going to give you a 7.5 out of 10 on this one. All right, last but not least, we have Wyatt, and Wyatt is sending me videos despite me always not wanting people to send videos, and it sounds like we got a squeaky belt or something on this thing, and I can't really tell what's going on there. It looks like we got some 3rd Gen Tacoma wheels on it, which, I don't know, maybe not my first choice. I can appreciate people wanting to run like OEM Toyota wheels on their vehicles though, just because of the quality of them and stuff, so I'll give you that. So this is another blue one, which if you remember from the previous episode, I'm a big fan of this shade of blue. I think this is a really nice color. The TRD decals on the side, and the off-road decals, I don't know what this is, something about probably rocket fuel or something. The stickers are not my thing. I mean, the Tacomas have these on the side. It looks like we're trying to make a 4Runner at Tacoma, I guess. We have the taco wheels and the taco sticker. It's not. But suspension, I'm not sure what's going on here. It almost looks like it's sitting a little high on the front end. Not necessarily squatted, but yeah. We've got some Duratrax on there, which, I got roasted for having Duratrax on mine, but I still think they're a pretty good tire. They're easy to find. They're noisy, and they get worse as they wear, but whatever. I still think that's a good tire. These lower model 4th Gens came without a spoiler on the back, which I always thought looks kind of weird, but whatever. He went off-roading here by parking his back tires on the leaves, so watch out, everybody. He's a hardcore wheeler. Not sure what's going on there. He did get it dirty, though, so obviously he was going off-roading somewhere. Can't really see much of what's going on from this picture. Looks like it's kind of a stockish build with some suspension and some different wheels. And we got another video of him cruising down the highway, which, yeah, it almost looks squatted from that angle, doesn't it? That front end sits pretty high. There's nothing that I really hate about it, but it's just, I don't know, maybe something's missing a little bit, but I like the color. I'm not really that against the Tacoma wheels. I think they're cool, I guess, but I'm going to give this one a 6.5 out of 10. Scratch that. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Anyways, that is my 10 submissions for Roast My Runner that I'm going through. I have, I think, 13 more that I have saved right now still to go, so you can count on another episode coming. But thank you guys for submitting your 4Runners. You've all got some pretty awesome looking 4Runners, and it's nice to see what everybody else is doing with theirs. And it seems like you guys are enjoying looking at each other's 4Runners as well. So we'll keep going with it. Thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you on the next one. See ya.